Welcome to InTownTonight.com, the Memphis late night talk show, your source for entertainment and helpful information with your host, Mr.Darney. InTownTonight.com.
It is Thursday, July the 20th, 2017, and we've got a lot of things to go over tonight. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I've got some shouts out to give out, some thank yous, and some hellos as well. So we're just going to sit back for a minute as I always do, and that's take the edge off of the day with a little nice glass of you know what. And salute to those that made it through the day, got all of their goals, objectives, and objectives accomplished for the day, done today. I drink to you and salute to you. Sit back and relax a little bit and listen to one of the tight tracks from some good friends of mine over at Black Syndicate Entertainment. Hot tracks, concepts, song development, jingles, hooks, whatever you're looking for with regards to R&B, hip-hop. Feel free to get in contact with them. Go to my website, www.mtowntonight.com. Look up under Black Syndicate Entertainment. Get the contact information and communicate with them. They'll be more than happy to get with you and talk to you about song development, concepts, whatever you're trying to do with regards to music, hip-hop, R&B. They'd love to talk to you. So we're going to kick back for a minute and relax, and I'll get back with you all here in just a few minutes. All right, let's get ready to get off into it. I've had a pretty good Thursday today. Hopefully yours was the same. As I say, hopefully all of your goals and objectives that you wanted to accomplish today, you did them to the fullest. And as I said, we're also getting on. We're over the halfway mark of 2017. We're going into the back part now of 2017. Getting ready to get off into your holidays. Kids are getting ready to get back into school. So as parents, I being a parent as well, we parents have to get back into that mode of getting these youngsters ready for another year of hopefully strong growth and development in school. Once again, as always, shout out to my OG squad. I salute you. My guy Josh, keep doing what you're doing, boy. This is your man. I always appreciate you. You know what I'm talking about. Okay? Happy birthday to someone or anyone that has celebrated a birthday today. Happy belated to those that celebrated before today, and up and coming birthdays as well. Happy birthday to you, up and coming also. If you're out on vacation or just getting back in from vacation, hope you had a successful and happy vacation. Hope you were able to unwind and take some of the staying off of hard work and being bogged down with responsibilities and so forth. So hopefully you had a good vacation. If you're getting ready to go on vacation, have a safe and successful, happy vacation, fun vacation. I've gotten so many responses jumping to this particular issue. The dealing with creditors video. I have gotten overwhelming responses on the dealing with creditors video. I thank all of you that took the time to view that video and any of my videos, because I do it out of care and concern for everybody. Anybody and everybody that can use information that I have or have acquired through experience or communicating with other people by learning from their experiences or them sharing them with me. They've given me the full authority to share this information with you. Thank you for tuning in. If anything that I've said can be helpful to you, that's why I'm here. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Once again, mtowntonight@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to respond back to you. For the most part, a lot of the emails I received regarding dealing with creditors, people were asking questions about bankruptcy, Chapter 13, Chapter 7. Are they worth filing? Are they good for filing? And I'll touch briefly on this just a minute, for just a minute. Chapter 13 bankruptcy, quite frankly, is a wage earner, as they call it. It's basically a debt consolidation program, basically. And I filed bankruptcy before years ago, Chapter 13, to try to get things in order. I mean, it's nothing to look down upon yourself or anybody else about. Rich people, as they say, do it all the time to reorganize finances and back up creditors to kind of get some breath, to regroup and go back at that thing and try to be a little bit more efficient. So it's nothing to look down upon yourself or anybody else if you have to file one of these, whether 13 or 7. So let's get that out of the way. That doesn't make you less of a person at any point in time. Okay, that is an economic tool that's available out there for you to get a little breathing room or to try to help you out to get your finances in order. And let me say to you, I've used it as a tool that's been beneficial for me and other people as well that I know personally and professionally that have used these tools to get themselves back in order. There is a slim price that you pay that I would look at being as slim. But at the end and nothing comes for free, but at the end of the day, if the objective is to get yourself back on the right track, they can help you do that if you use them in the right way. Chapter 13, as I say, is a consolidation program. For the most part, what they do, per my understanding, is when it was when I filed over 20 some odd years ago, and I think still to this day, they basically take all of your creditors and the payments that you have for these creditors, they cut them in half. Example, if you've got a payment of to someone for $400, they usually would cut it down to $200. They would take all of these payments and try to consolidate them. And if they are secured creditors meaning people where, say, your car or your house, those secured creditors always get paid first. Your unsecured creditors, such as your credit cards and different things of that nature, they get paid last because they're unsecured. They're usually collateralized by, I guess, basically your signature, or back in the olden days, personal property, but for the most part, your signature, your credit cards and so forth. They usually get paid last if there's any money even left at all. And it used to be with Chapter 13 that you could go into an attorney's office and just tell them that that's what you wanted to do, that you'd pay a particular fee, you write down all of your bills and payments, give your receipt, your check stubs, and to show him what you make, tax documents and what have you. He would send a letter to a notice letter to your creditors that you are filing Chapter 13, which would come also with a meeting of creditors list in which your attorney would go to that, and you would go to that meeting and meet all of your creditors. You all would sit down at a table and try to come to terms of what you could pay, and you'd work it out that way. It usually would be a 5-year debt consolidation program. Your attorney would get paid for the most part through monthly payments that you make. He would get his attached on to that payment, and that's how he would get his money. Good money for him because it's being paid for 5 years or however long you're in the plan. Chapter 7, it was what they call a straight bankruptcy, in which you actually wipe the slate clean of your debt. However, you are giving up, or were supposedly to give up, the items that you wanted to wipe away clean. Such as if you didn't want to pay this, if you couldn't afford this car note, well, okay, well, they take it away from you. You relinquish the car. You wouldn't know anything, but you wouldn't have that car anymore. Same thing with your house or any other personal property. At that one particular time, furniture and different things like that would be a part of that. And even back in those days, if your car note or house note considering those things being the most two of the biggest purchases that we make as human beings and consumers. If you were current on your house note and you wanted to file a Chapter 7 on credit cards and different things of that nature, in the olden days, before 2005, if I'm not mistaken, when Bush allowed the law to be changed so creditors could have a little bit more stronghold on their consumers for bad debt, you could actually keep your house or keep your car if it was current at the date of filing. I don't think it's that way now. Things have changed dramatically. When Bush was in office, George Bush, Junior Bush, baby boy Bush, when he was in office, he helps change the laws to where creditors have a lot more strenuous hold on you. And there were things put in place where you would actually have to take credit counseling classes and different classes to be able to qualify for Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. You would have to be making a certain amount of money. You have to make a certain amount of money now to file Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, which I think is the most retarded thing in the world, because if you're trying to file bankruptcy, one would conclude that you have very little damn money. So I don't understand how you have to be able to make a certain amount just to be able to file. That seems like that's working against itself. But that's the way the law is set up. And usually you have to either go to a debt consolidation, a credit counseling class, or you'd have to do a phone interview or a phone conference on the phone. I think it's an hour or something like that, something to that effect. And the class during the day, if you go through to a class, I think it was something 4 to 6 hours or something like that. But I think these things are federal law now in order for you to file. And that's just basically to make it harder for people to file Chapter 13, Chapter 7. It was rumored and said that people were taking advantage of the system. That could be true. It probably has some truth to it. But at the same time, as I say, I worked in the business. I know people used it as a tool, not in a negative way, but they used it as a tool to get themselves back on track financially. Some people would wipe the slate clean. Wipe the slate clean. Now, bear in mind, Chapter 13 and 7 goes on your credit report and should stay there 7 years minimum, meaning that you couldn't buy anything on credit. Nobody would even recognize you for buying something on credit if you had one of those on your credit report. Chapter 7 or 13. And you would, in the 13, you would pay out at the end, and it would be what is known as discharged, meaning that it has been taken care of. Dismissed usually means that somewhere along the line some things have happened where it caused you to get kicked out of the program, or you just dropped out due to non-keeping up with the payments and so forth, because it's basically a court order to pay your bills. That's what it basically is. The court is helping you reorganize your finances, backing up your creditors off of you so that you can reorganize, cut your payments in half, have something more affordable to pay, and the court is going to dictate that you make your payments through the courts, and they disperse the money. Chapter 7 is when they just wipe it away clean. You walk away. No responsibility. Start over fresh. No credit, though. No credit. Things could have changed today, here or there, but for the most part, it's roughly the same thing. Okay? Do I advise any individual to file? If you necessarily have to get yourself in order, by all means, do so. Or speak with an attorney, a bankruptcy attorney, and talk with he or she and see can it be beneficial for you, because you're going to have to disclose all of your finances. You're going to have to give your tax statements. You're going to have to give your check stubs. You're going to have full open disclosure to your attorney about your finances, and he or she will tell you at that point whether you qualify, and if you qualify, what can be done. If you have to do that, by all means, do it. I suggest, as I've done in the past, even after my filing bankruptcy years ago, and I learned this from after bankruptcy, is that call your creditors and talk with them. At the end of the day, they want a little money. All they want is some consistent monies coming in. And if you talk with them, who knows what can happen. If you can't see eye to eye, then you go other routes. But for the most part, before you go filing, see, can you talk with them and work it out? Communicate with them and document your communication with them. What's been said, who you spoke with. Keep the proper records to protect yourself. So in the event there's a misunderstanding, you have something to rebut what they have. Because trust me, they'll have their paperwork. You need to have yours. Sometimes we have to run our lives, for the most part, I should say, we have to run our lives like a business. We have to be efficient, paying attention to the details, and taking notes and making notations on things that are significant and important to our finances. And if we're family men or family women or whatever you want to call it, and you're responsible for more than yourself, you owe it to those people that you are responsible to make sure that you are efficient as best you can. And that's what I'm all about. I'm trying to bring information to you that will help you be as efficient as possible. Nothing goes your way, my way, anybody's way all the time. But you can do everything that you can to make sure that they go your way most of the time. And when they don't go your way, they're not as bad as they would have been prior to you not knowing something or knowing what you needed to do to keep them from being so bad. That's the beautiful part about information, being able to use it so that it can apply to your life and keep things clean and smooth and clear for you with as little headache as possible. So bankruptcy is something, if you need to do it, if your finances dictate that you need to do it, you need to bag up, you need to get some space, you need to bag the creditors up off of you, by all means use that tool. It's still a valuable tool. There's just a little bit more regulation with it. That's all. And you have to go through a little bit, but hey, if you really need that space, then you take that space, you do that. I want to also talk about another video that we're getting a lot on, and that's the Judge Joe Brown videos. Judge Joe Brown is a prominent figure, some celebrity TV judge. Had a lot to talk about, and we're going to get him back on the show and talk about some things in particular regarding the Amy Wyrick situation that she's having, the prosecutorial misconduct issues that she's having downtown, something that he spoke on last year or year before when he was trying to run for, when he ran for DA. We need to get to the bottom of that, because we don't need that type of corruption going on if it's going on, because how can you have a fair trial when the prosecutor is in a position where she can or he can trump you by manipulating things? And that's basically what they're accusing her of, manipulating things, however you want to break it down, either not disclosing this information to the defense, however you want to look at it. Prosecutorial misconduct, we can't afford it. We just can't afford it. And it looks as though, if based on all of the reports or the reports that's been shown, even by the study that was done by some particular Harvard study group, it doesn't look good. So it's something that we need to seriously consider. You know, everybody that's walking the streets are not bad people, and everybody that goes to court, that has to go before a judge, is not a bad person. Sometimes people get caught up in bad things. For the most part, that's usually what it is. But we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible enough and diligent enough to keep those people that are responsible for maintaining order, to make sure that they're living by the same standards that they expect us to live by. That's the whole thing here. There should never be a double standard. There should never be a double standard of any kind whatsoever. The topic of discussion tonight, I think, can piggyback the dealing with creditors information I was talking about earlier. Thank you once again for all of those people that took the time to look at that video. If you got any questions, as I say, feel free to email me, mtowntonight@gmail.com. We're talking about tonight self-help literature, pleasing personality, and self-help literature. And both of those are one in the same, because self-help literature teaches you about the benefits of a pleasing personality. A pleasing personality being that person that no matter where you go, who you are around, everybody has a sense of comfort with you. You're very inviting. You're a person that people don't mind being around and having conversations with. and you're just good people. You see things for the most part from a positive perspective. For the most part, you have positive things to say. Not that you can't be subjective if necessary, if it's bad, it's just bad. But always being able to find a silver lining in there, always being able to realize that it doesn't have to end on the negative side. Being the type of person that when you walk, when you're with people, they feel good about being around you. Having a pleasing personality and dealing with self-help literature. Reading self-help literature can help you understand the science behind a pleasing personality. Napoleon Hill, Dr. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich and the 16 Laws of Success, specifically talks about pleasing personality, and that being as one of the 16 things that is necessary for success. Being able to have the personality that is magnetic and attractive to people to where they are receptive to you and your ideas to the degree to where they would be willing to listen. Not that they're going to go along with you on all things or most things, but at least they're willing to listen, to give a listening ear to you because of your personality. Flip side to that, if you've got a personality that's abrasive, that's short, and a lot of people seem to have that type of personality lately here. They want to just be short and brass with people because they have the right to do it. Really? And a lot of these people that have this type of personality are people that they want other people to put them in high regard because of accomplishments or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, as the old saying goes, you're acting like an asshole. And life's accomplishments and so forth doesn't give you the right to be that. It's not necessary. So when you're dealing with self-help literature that is designed and written to help you find out the greatness in you through applying principles, activities, and having a certain mindset, and programming yourself or reprogramming yourself if necessary for success in whatever. Nobody is successful all of the time. Nothing is going to go one way all of the time. But you can set stages in your life where things go your way most of the time. And when they don't go the way you wanted them to go, at least they probably won't be as bad. It's something that can be managed or dealt with. And having a pleasing personality can help you deal with those issues. Now, over the course of study of my education, I've had the pleasure, opportunity to read quite a few books, study quite a few schools of thought on self-help literature. From Napoleon Hill, Les Brown, the brother Les Brown, going all the way back to Zig Ziglar, world's number one salesman at one particular time. Brian Tracy, the Universal Laws of Success and Achievement. Charles Gibbons, Wealth Without Risk. Now these are books from my generation. Of course, there are more now today. Brother Dennis Kimbrough, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, which was his rendition of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Anthony Robbins, or Tony Robbins as we say, Big Smile Tony Robbins, with Personal Power, and I think the 3 volumes of tapes that he put out. And I'm talking about studying this stuff in the early 90s when it was on cassette tapes. You get 6 to 10 cassette tapes in a setup, and there would be a booklet to come with it. You have those 10 tapes, 6 tapes to 10 tapes. You would listen to those tapes and study and take notes and hear, because the author would have it in dialogue, would speak it and have it on the tapes, and you would listen, and you could ride with it in your car, and you could really focus and concentrate on what's being said. Some people thought it was corny. Some people still think it's corny. I say to you from experience, it works. It works. If it did not work, then you wouldn't have corporate companies spending thousands and millions of dollars bringing these people to their corporations in big functions and different things, speaking on positive mental attitude, pleasing personality, work ethic, going the extra mile and doing it with a smile and doing it for a while, as I was taught. That extra that's needed to get through. Self-help literature can teach you a lot of things about human growth and development. A lot of things. And these things are important to our growth and development and success in whatever we do. I urge any viewer that is looking at these videos to take your time and go through some self-help literature. Now, in all fairness, over the years, people have come with their renditions of all of the particular people I spoke of. So it gets to a point where no matter who you read, you will see some common ground issues there. And to the degree to where you don't have to read a lot if you apply what you read. But there are a lot of people out there now from religious standpoints and they call it prosperity preaching. Same thing. Same thing. Just from a religious aspect. But when you want to deal with straight economics and money, then you get off into the other people I was speaking of. And the principles are basically still the same. It's basically the same stuff. But the more you read, sometimes we have to read things from 3 or 4 different authors that even are the same thing, but maybe this author may have said it a little bit different or worded it a little bit different than this author, and that may be what you need to get it clicking in your head. Sometimes you have to read it 3 or 4 times. Sometimes you have to read 3 or 4 versions of the same thing. And one of them hopefully will spark that light bulb to come on in your head for you to say, I see what they're talking about. Pardon me one second, please. Self-help literature is something that you can let your children read. They're not speaking above the level of intellect of an 8-year-old child. At one particular time, Karl Rove, who was the architect of George Bush, baby Bush, when he won the White House. Now, we all know how smart George Bush was, or allegedly how smart he was not. But his architect of his presidency was by a guy by the name of Karl Rove. Now, I am not a friend of Karl Rove, nor am I a sponsor of Karl Rove, nor am I saying that Karl Rove is the guy to be or the guy to study. I'm saying this. At the age of 8, between 8 and 10, Karl Rove's dad was having him to read a book called Dialectical Historical Materialism. Marxism is what it was. I'm not saying study that. I'm saying at that age, that man's father had him studying that type of literature at age 8. So I'm saying to you that self-help literature about building a positive attitude, about creating good habits, that's not too young to teach your child. I want it to be clear. I'm not a fan of Karl Rove. I only used his name as a reference because his father gave him some materials to study that was way above the age of an 8-year-old. But his father saw the need for him to learn and have that type of mindset, or be open to that type of mindset, or at least have the knowledge of that, to the degree to where Karl Rove became the architect of George Bush's presidency. That's how important knowledge is. That's how powerful knowledge can be. So if he was reading that at that age, there's no telling what he was reading at age 10. It's nothing wrong with being well-rounded. There's nothing wrong with reading different schools of thought. Just because you read something does not mean that you embrace what you read. The only way to know whether or not you agree with it or disagree is to read it, is to get involved with it. Reading something does not make you a study of it or a fan of it. You're reading it for the purpose of finding out whether or not you agree or disagree with what you read. We all should be well-rounded in different areas. Everything is not learned out of one book. Everything is not learned out of one book. You have to have a diversity you have to be diverse in yourself, in your knowledge of different things. And you can be as smart as you want to be. All you have to do is be willing to study, be willing to research and investigate. Compare and contrast information that you get to get the truth of what you feel, or what you feel is the truth, or the common ground in all. In all self-literature books, self-help literature books, the common ground basically is having a no-nonsense attitude toward failure. You have to understand that in order for your success to grow, in order for you to be successful, in order for you to grow, you have to and will fail. That is a part of it. The key for you should be in understanding how I can learn from the failure to the degree to where I can't, or I won't do that again. I won't repeat the same mistake over and over again. And that's where wisdom comes in. You've learned from that, and you've taken what you've learned and applied it and it benefits you now. That's wisdom. Using what you know to benefit yourself. Being able to take information that someone else has acquired through their personal or professional experiences, and you using it so that you can progress without going through what they had to go through on the negative side. That's wisdom. We have to acquire these type of things. We have to do it. So when you're reading self-help literature, one of the common things, as I said, is basically having a no-nonsense attitude toward failure. Understanding that it is a process, a part of the process. It's a part of the process. In gambling, I'll use this example. In gambling, if you're planning on gambling, it's pretty safe to say the first time you start gambling in any form or endeavor, for the most part, the statistics say that you will lose first. You have isolated instances where people win on that first time. But for the most part, the numbers say that you're going to lose first. Matter of fact, you're probably going to lose the first few times, which in itself can keep you going back. Just like if you won on your first time, it's definitely going to have you going back. So it's the same thing with self-help literature. You have to have a no-nonsense approach to failure, understanding that if you fail, learn from what happened, assess what happened, learn from it, take the information that you can, apply it, and see how you can do better the next time. That's one thing that is constant in any self-help literature by anybody. Pleasing personality is another, because pleasing personality goes hand in hand with a mindset. Having the personality to be magnetic to where people will actually they will be attracted to you. Not in a physical way, sexual way. I mean, that could happen too, but for the most part, we're talking about inviting type of personality, where people are willing to engage with you, make themselves available to you for whatever reason it may be, of assistance or what have you. Because whenever they see you, they get that type of vibe from you that's positive and strong and energetic, and it makes them feel good about themselves, and the next thing they know, their day is doing a little bit better just because you came around. You brought some sunshine to their day to go along with the sunshine they may have or the sunshine they may need. That pleasing personality, it can do it. I know this for a fact, personally. Try it. It works. It works. When you're dealing with self-help literature, to give you an example, Dr. Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich, very, very good book. I'd say one of the top, I've got a top 10 book list, true enough. Out of my top 10 book list, when it comes to economics, and it's basically not an economical book. When I wouldn't classify it as an economical book, a book dealing with straight economics and finance. I wouldn't say that. Pardon me. But I'm going to put it in the top 5 books that I would suggest that anyone read. And it's not a universal book. I mean, it's not a book that's geared toward a particular group. It's a universal book that can be used by anybody of any color, of any background. There are principles there in that book that can be used by anybody. Basically, the habits of successful people. What successful people do and what they have done consistently and created habits to the degree to where success is pretty much guaranteed, provided they do certain things consistently. They have a certain mindset consistently. That pleasing personality consistently. This is something that we should teach our children. Everybody is so individualistic now. People are so much into their own space now. Everywhere you go, people have got their own iPods in their ear, earbuds in their ear, listening to their soundtrack, their music, watching their television, their phone. No interaction with each other. Pleasing personality comes hand in hand with that. If you've got the type of personality that is pleasing and acceptable and inviting, you'd be surprised. Some of you guys that are going out on dates while you're sitting up here with your friend girl on the phone, you're on the phone, all fairness to you, that may be the way you all want to run your date. But in a lot of cases, you guys just don't have the type of personality that's required to keep her occupied, to keep her brain stimulated, and vice versa maybe. But I'm speaking from a male's perspective right now. I can't speak from a female perspective. From a male's perspective, maybe you're on your phone because your personality is not as strong or pleasing as it needs to be. And I'm not talking about just a bunch of bull crap, talking about a bunch of bull crap. Having something worth talking about. Excuse me, being truly interesting. Having some real depth and real value about yourself to where you can actually communicate with this young lady and have a good time as far as conversation. That's important. That's important. Pleasing personality, being able to be the type of person where everybody, or most everybody, is willing to accept your presence. You are there, and by being there, people feel good because you're good people. You're fun to be around. You're a breath of fresh air. You always got something silly to say or funny to say or important, or whatever it may be. When you come up, people say, yeah. It's contagious, just like a negative attitude, just like an ugly personality, just like an unpleasing personality. You come around and people just, it just turns the whole room into a different vibe. And you all know some people like that when they come in the room. You could be in there having a great time. Everybody in there is having a great time. Here comes Mr. or Miss, and the next thing you know, the whole room just, poof, the vibe, the feeling, the energy, just because of this individual or group of individuals. We all have experienced that before with people, persons. We don't want to be one of those type of people. We want to train our children not to be that individual. See, so much is going on with children right now. Children are dealing with so many adult issues right now. They can't be kids. That's why a lot of the times they're getting caught up in adult situations. We don't allow them to be kids anymore. They're all in our business. They're all looking at adult situations on television. They have access to adult information through the web, no matter what type of catch guards you put on their internet, on their phones, tablets, or whatever. They've got friends and so forth that still have access to it. So they've got so much information that's thrown at them that's not even in their age bracket. It's hard to develop a pleasing personality as an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 6-year-old. Being a fun kid when you're concerned about adult situations. as a youngster. And a lot of kids are. Excuse me. So we've got to get that burden up off of them. That pleasing personality that I'm talking about can help you with your own children. Getting your children to understand that, hey, this is what I expect of you. This is what you should be doing. Mom, Dad, hey, we're not here to hurt you. We're not here to make life bad for you. We want you to be as successful and as prosperous as you can be. But at the same time, there are rules and things that you have to follow. And in order to get to a certain point in life or any point in life, you have to be this way. Try to appeal to your children and get them to understand that, hey, I was you. I'm not teaching you as a parent. I'm just sharing with you some things that we as parents should do. And if you're doing it, I salute you. If you are not, I as a parent make the suggestion that you try it. I'm not saying that you have to bow down to your children, but come to them and talk with them and really, and that's a part of a pleasing personality. Because if your child can buy into you, into what you're trying to do, because children are naturally rebellious, as we all were at one point in time. So having that nice personality that you know, the personality that they like to have is when you're fun and you're doing all the stuff they want you to do. So have that pleasing personality to go to the table with them and say, hey, this is what we need to be trying to do. This is what we need to be trying to do. And this is what mom and dad expects of you. The pleasing personality part of that is getting them to understand that this is not about a punishment if you can't do it or don't do it. This is about you not doing what is necessary to make you successful. You'd be surprised when you talk to your children what a smile can do when you're giving them constructive criticism. It's not about bashing unless it's necessary. But for the most part, it's about educating them and teaching them and having a smile that represents love and appreciation when you do it. And when you are in the world dealing with people, having a pleasing personality can get you out of situations. It can make situations better for you. I'll share something with you real quick. When I was a youngster coming up, me and a buddy of mine was celebrating a birthday. His birthday was being celebrated, and we had two female friends with us. We were in a particular hotel celebrating as young people do. We had some other friends at the hotel, and they were a little loud, just trying to be a little haterish because of what we had going on, but in all fun. So we knew we were making noise. Security had already told us that we were too loud. We were telling them that we were going to calm down, but we kept cranking it up. Nothing bad, but enough to rile up security. So simultaneously, our friends were getting ready to leave. My friend and I were still there with our two lovely young lady friends, and our friends were getting ready to leave. Simultaneously, the opening of the door showed us the hotel manager and the security. My friends, the other friends left. As they were leaving out, the hotel manager came in and basically had a very, very stern attitude with us. You all have been warned on numerous occasions about the noise. And at that time, he said, well, and there's also a peculiar smell in this room that I'm not used to smelling in our hotels. With that being said, I need all of you to pack up and leave before I call the police. Well, the two young ladies and my buddy were basically at a loss for words. I took that as an opportunity, and I spoke briefly, and I explained to that hotel manager, I said, sir, our apologies to you. But as you can see, as you were coming in, the young men that were leaving out, in all fairness, sir, they're my friends, but we're celebrating my other friend's birthday, his friend girl and mine. We're together, kicking it. We've got a room here for tonight, both of us 2 rooms tonight. The two young men that were keeping the maximum amount of noise up, they've left because of that reason. This man came back and told us, security, that we were being loud, and we told him we would calm it down. We just alleviated the problem by our friends leaving, and we won't make any other noise for the rest of the night. There were tons of other hotels that we passed by to get here, but we chose to come here. We chose to come to this particular hotel because of certain things, a previous stay here before, and we felt the need to come back to celebrate here. So we apologize for any inconvenience that we've caused to you and the rest of your staff and other guests in the hotel, but I can assure you from this moment, you won't hear from us anymore tonight, sir. And when I finished talking with that hotel manager at the age of 19, not knowing what I had been doing or was doing at that time, the hotel manager, probably aged 30 to 45, looked at me and said, I like your style. I like your personality. Feel free to stay at the hotel for the rest of the evening. Enjoy your stay. And if there's anything you need, call downstairs. Ask for me. Pleasing personality. My friend and the two young ladies that were with me were in awe. How did you do that? Well, I took an opportunity. At that particular time, I didn't know that what I was doing was an actual science of how to deal with people. It's not a secret if you read about it and try it. How to Win Friends and Influence People, a book written by Dale Carnegie, speaks of a pleasing personality. Some people look at that as a book of persuasion. The 48 Laws of Power, all of these books have this in them in some way, form, or fashion. That may not be the particular words I'm using, but trust you me, if you do your study, a pleasing personality is a part of it. 48 Laws of Power, the book that everybody's on now, has been on for the past 10 years or so. I don't know how long the book's been out. I've read the book, good book, but in all fairness, I've read books prior to that, similar things, same thing. Sun Tzu, The Art of War, a lot of that stuff. You know? Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that's today's self-help literature. There are plenty of books out there that talk about these type of things, helping you to acquire the things that you need to be more successful in whatever you do. Take pride in whatever you do. Have a pleasing personality. Let me tell you some people that have the most pleasing personalities that I run into all the time. Pardon me again. My garbage man. When I'm out and the garbage is being picked up on my particular day in my neighborhood, and I'm outside, because sometimes I'm out there to receive the garbage back so I can take the garbages back up to my back porch, or my sons are out there. The garbage people have the most pleasing personality. They're very nice people. Salute to you, the sanitation workers here in Memphis, Tennessee, and all around the United States. Salute to you to deal with our garbage with such a pleasing damn personality. Because that, I'm sure, is a part of you being able to deal with, outside of the fact that you need a job and you want to make money to take care of your family. I'm pretty sure having a pleasing personality has a lot to do with you being able to deal with it. So I salute you. And when those men come by, and women as well, come by and provide that type of service, they have the most beautiful personality. Good morning to you, and I make it my business, as you should as well, when you run into your sanitation workers, your local sanitation workers that are picking up your garbage and getting rid of it. Thank them. Speak to them. Thank them for their service. Think about what they're doing. And the personality. I have yet to meet one. I have yet to meet one in my years of living where he or she had a terrible personality. He or she exerted the type of attitude one would probably think a person that deals with that type of work would have. I have not met one. So I say to you again, I salute you. Sanitation workers here in the city of Memphis and around the United States. I salute you. Keep that personality going. It's beautiful. And I'll reciprocate it to you every time. Every time. Dealing with a pleasing personality can make your day better. It definitely will make people's day better around you. But it can make your day better, because if you're in a position where you feel good, even a day where things are not going as well, and you can find that silver lining and you feel good about things enough to where you can still smile and give warm hellos and good mornings and good afternoons to make someone else's day who may not be as strong as you like that. That can be a boost to them to make their day better. That pleasing personality, crazy as it may sound, that pleasing personality can sometimes stop some people from doing things that they shouldn't do, whether it be to themselves or to you or to anybody else. I would have to believe in my years of travel and study that I have touched people in certain areas of my life where I may have said some things or said some things that made them reorganize their thinking, to look over their situation again and say, hey, it's not as bad as I thought. Let me have this open-mindedness that this man has showed me or shared with me and see how that can be helpful to me. It's all about helping each other. Everybody's not going to buy into this concept. Just like everybody's not going to have a pleasing personality, but I can guarantee you one damn thing for sure. If you got one, your situation is ultimately going to be better. Because let's say, for instance, if you have to do something, if you have to go and return an item, or if you have to go and express a concern, I can assure you having a pleasing personality will get the results better in most cases. Some cases we understand it may not go that way. And those are isolated incidents, But at the end of the day, how you deal with it, your response to it, can be the ultimate deciding factor in its success for you to get what you want out of it. Just by sometimes a smile, sometimes just a genuine smile, being able to ask the question, how are you? And mean, how are you today? How are you today? Good afternoon to you. Good morning to you. Hello, sir. It goes a long, 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 long way. And if you're one of those people